and welcome to the NFT MetaJungle. I am Emma, aka Nifty Meta Girl, and I am here today for another episode in our 12-part series as we're talking about the amazing photographs that we have included for the exhibit that's happening right now at Venice Biennale in Venice, Italy, as part of the art presentation that is Art Biennale. Now, this is a art show that happens every 2 years and has actually started in 1895 and has really been grown to be known as like the Olympics of art. So I actually just returned from seeing the exhibit in real life, which was such an amazing experience. Really enjoyed it. The exhibit looks so beautiful in person, but also just to see the experience there at the European Culture Center, to visit the Plaza Mora, and to really be able to see what it's all about was just so incredible. So I'm really pleased to be able to provide this opportunity to share this artwork as such a monumental exhibit. So today we're going to be jumping into the 10th part of the exhibit. And so just as a little bit of a recap, this exhibit has been shown the entire month of November with SuperChief Gallery. So very excited to get to pair with them to be able to highlight NFT photography. The title of this exhibit is Discovering Photography in Web3, and AlphaTrilogy is actually the owner of all of the NFTs in the collection. We delve into his Vault collection to curate this exhibit. So I was really pleased to get to work with him on the curation, selecting the images that we chose, the theme, and also how we would represent that. And we really put a lot of attention into the artists that we chose by being mindful of, those that might be emerging, those that have a very strong history in their career, and also selecting artists and photos from all over the world. So being really diverse in that selection was really important to us. And then also, the opportunity to be able to feature multiple genres and really be able to create something that the huge number of people could connect with. And something that was so exciting about seeing this experience in real life is as I came up to the exhibit in the SuperChief space, there was a couple there, and I got to watch them for a few moments before they noticed that I was there. And their interaction with these photos and with this exhibit was just so fantastic. They were really engaged with the photos. They were noticing differences in them, talking about them, pointing, taking photographs, and that was just such an incredible experience. So glad that people were actually able to see these images. When we're collecting in the NFT space, we sometimes wonder, what life do these images have after the initial drop of a collection, the pieces are collected. It was so cool to see, that experience that Alpha and I have shared as reviewing these photos, talking about these photos when they were collected, when we were curating the exhibit, and then seeing complete strangers also being able to see them and enjoy them and appreciate them. So again, this was like the first time that we've been able to do an exhibit in real life of NFT photography, but this has been such a great experience. We're going to be doing another one here in about a week it's going to be featured at Art Basel in Miami. We're doing that with Monolith Gallery, so excited about that. And we'll be looking for future opportunities to continue highlighting NFT photography in real life and helping to let others see what this whole world is about. So with that somewhat lengthy explanation, let's jump into this particular episode, which we are featuring scene 10. So there are 12 different scenes within this exhibit. If you've been following along on this journey, you are well aware of the other 9 that we have featured. If you haven't been following along with us or not aware, please check out our previous episodes. There's so much amazing artwork and incredible artists to be able to discover. And that's really the point of this particular video series, is to help do a deep dive into the images that we've selected, talk about the artists a little bit, and be able to hopefully help those that are interested in getting into NFT photography to have the chance to learn more about it. So spotlighting and really bringing these images to life and sharing them in another aspect. And this particular series is highlighting aerial and experimental photography. So these images are just beautiful. Something I've noticed as preparing for this is each of the artists really have a passion for creating and a passion for the world around them. And they've been able to use photography to capture their surroundings in a way that otherwise we would never have the opportunity to see them. So I have a huge appreciation for that. With the Ariel, we're able to really escape our traditional box and be able to see the world in a totally new way. So here we're going all the way from Ariel to macro and seeing, at a microscopic level, the beauty that's around us. And we also have talented photographers that are also capturing our surroundings in unique ways by using light and dance and movement and the juxtaposition of stillness. So super excited about these particular images. And, one of the things that we talk about a lot is there is magic that can occur when boundaries are pushed. We see the textures and we see the textures and the colors all around us. And when we see images like this, we are really taken by how they can look like abstract paintings, curious about what this actually is that we're seeing because it's from a whole nother perspective. And I just love how we're able to experience every day in a whole nother aspect. So that is what we're going to see in the images that we're highlighting today. So we have 9 different artists and 8 different artworks that we're featuring in this particular episode. Our first artist that we're highlighting today, her name is Jen Martin. And Jen is actually a design and emerging technology leader in her everyday life. However, she has been very passionate about photography for a good part of her life. She started being interested when she was a high school student. And it's really amazing how her love for photography, her passion for creating, even just for herself, was something that has impacted her life and really changed the way that her life has proceeded and up to this current day, even where she is located. So she is actually living in Australia. And throughout her career, she was very interested, even dabbled in pursuing art professionally for a time period, but went ahead and went into the technology field. And that was her first profession, was in the technology field, but yet still was really involved in her photography as well. And so her photography and her love for capturing her surroundings, for the environment around her, has actually led her to go on amazing adventures, first starting as holidays, but she has mentioned that she would really plan these holidays around where she could go and what she could capture. So she's captured the Southwest United States, polar bears in Canada, wildlife in East Africa, snow monkeys in Japan, and this love for capturing her surroundings and her passion actually led her to a 2-year assignment in Australia, which actually has led her to relocate there and have a dual citizenship. And she found that the Australian lifestyle really fit her well, and also the natural beauty that she was then surrounded with on a regular basis was something she really connected with, and also really led her to begin photographing the night sky. And we learned that it's very interesting that for a number of years, capturing these images was something that was very personal, and it wasn't with the motivation to share these images with the public. It was really to be able to have the experience and the reward of just capturing these experiences and these moments. However, during the pandemic, things kind of shifted and changed, and she started to feel this urge to actually share some of these images and share these experiences with the public, which kind of led her into the NFT space. And Jen, we are so glad that you have decided to come into this space and share your beautiful images with us. Now, the piece that we've selected to share in this particular curation is part of her Solidity Ariel Abstract collection. Now, this is a fairly small collection. There's only 10 pieces, 10 one-of-one pieces in this collection, but they are so unique and so beautiful. I mentioned before looking like an abstract photo, and I love that about this particular piece. The colors are so beautiful together. You would absolutely think that an artist had selected these colors to be put into this particular piece, the texture, everything, but it's just even more incredible to know that this is an aerial photo of a real location. Now, the title of this piece is Sapphire Sky, very well named, but Jen shares with us that in this image, you see the earth-colored retaining walls that actually separate 3 sapphire sky and cerulean blue salt ponds, which is just really, really incredible to know that this is happening in Mother Nature, that this is something that's all around us. Something that amazes me with aerial photography is you're able to capture these images that otherwise, if we're just passing them, we would totally miss how beautiful they are. Something I really appreciate about this piece is, as well, is Jen was not just flying a drone up this high. She was actually taking these images out of a helicopter. So that adds a whole nother level of adventure. She says that she was actually scared of heights. However, she was taken by the beauty of this area, amazed that this experience actually is available, that this is happening in Mother Nature. And soon she forgot that she was just tethered to a helicopter and hanging out of an open door. So you know that the experience has to be all-consuming to be able to let go of those fears and be able to just be consumed by the beauty that surrounds you. But she says, I captured this abstract image while flying over the salt ponds at Useless Loop near Denham in Western Australia. The ponds get their colors from different types of algae, and the vibrancy varies depending on the time of the day, which is just absolutely incredible. And AlphaTrilogy has said about this particular piece, top-down aerial photography often has an abstract quality where lines, colors, and textures combine to create a statement of beauty. And so very delighted to have this as our first piece that we're including in this particular series. Absolutely beautiful work, Jen. If this is something that interests you, please check out her collection. I do believe that there are a few pieces that remain available, but beautiful, beautiful work. And our next artist that we are including in this particular curation, his name is Bruno Militelli. And Bruno is a fine art photographer. He's based out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And he builds himself as a contemporary visual artist who uses macro photography to present a unique portfolio focused on the processes, elements, and experiments that permeate his creations. So very, very well defined. This particular collection is just so amazing. I remember the first time that I saw it introduced when it was being minted, and the colors, the vibrancy is otherworldly. You know, often in NFTs, there is a huge presence in digital artwork, and it is incredible because when you first see this piece, you think that it must have been created digitally, that there's no way that this could actually be a photograph. So it was so interesting to delve in and actually learn more about how Bruno's process happens. He does great with his behind the scenes work, which really helps you understand the process that he goes through and gain that appreciation. But it is said that between abstraction and figuration, Bruno captures nature in its finest details. With the macro photography as a stepping stone, he overcomes the limits of vision and enters the minutiae of each of the photographed objects. Precision and focus are guides to the process, and poetics of the work develops, with near laboratory techniques from the uncovering of the particles of nature that fall to being seen or even go easily unnoticed. Now, this particular collection is entitled Space Invaders, which is such a fun title for this collection because, like I said, you feel like you are visiting another planet, that this is captured and created in a totally unique space that we have not experienced. So knowing that it's happened right around us is so amazing. And the really cool thing is that this image is actually soap bubbles. And so something that we take for granted, we see every single day that we're involved, we're washing dishes, we're washing our hands, and we lose sight of the fact that there is beauty happening right there. But with the collection description, Bruno mentions that The universe is something that is beyond our imagination. From our childhood to science fiction films, we always try to fantasize about it. In this Space Invaders special edition from the Iridescent series, I tried to induce the viewer's imagination in the existence of some extraterrestrial worlds with quite unusual life forms, only using macro photography and bubbles made primarily of three liquids: water, soap, and glycerin. So it's just absolutely amazing to see the beautiful colors, the beautiful patterns, and knowing that the fact that Bruno is able to see this and understand it and then create something so magical is just so impressive. So very, very happy to include this piece in our curation. Alpha has said about this, yes, this is experimental photography, a macro photography of bubbles made from water, soap, and glycerin that looks like something out of a 1980s video game. So it is really hard to place, again, where this would be, what it would be, if it's a photograph, if it's created digitally, if it's another life form. So very, very interesting, and love what Bruno is doing. Again, Bruno does an amazing job of capturing the process he goes about to create these images. So definitely check him out on Twitter, check him out on Instagram. And if you are interested in this particular collection, I believe it is sold out, so be looking for it on the secondary. But beautiful work, Bruno, and very happy to have you included in this particular series. Now, our next image that we have included we're going to go from macro and being so close up and seeing things microscopically to quite the opposite. This particular piece has been captured from 450 meters above the earth. And again, you're wondering when you see this image what it is. It looks like an abstract painting. It looks like an image that has been created by brush strokes, but then you realize that it is actually a photograph. Read more about it, learn more about it, and the mission that the artist is hoping to accomplish, the message that they're hoping to convey, and the details are just so amazing. Without drone photography, there's probably not an opportunity that most of us would have to see an image like this. But Ekrem Sahin is our artist for this particular piece, and he, by trade, is a wholesale and vegetable trader. But again, like many of our artists included, especially in this set, he is very passionate about his photography, and it started as a passion but has developed into a second profession. And so he really specializes in documentaries, landscapes, and portraits, but for the last 2 years, he's really focused on his drone photography and seeing the world from above. And he is also very passionate about educating people about the condition of our earth, a condition of the impact that our climate has, and being able to tell a story with his photographs and also make a movement, help push the movement of the fact that we need to be taking care of our earth and recognizing where our earth is at this point in time, instead of just assuming that everything is fine. So being very aware of the climate change and the impact that that's having and that impact it's having in our surroundings. So this particular collection is called If the Water Disappears, We Will All Perish, which is such an impactful statement. And the images that then back up that statement really do cause pause and have you really consider what is happening all around us. Every day we are moving at a fast pace, and it's easy to not consider the impact that our actions are having on the earth. So it's amazing the work that Ekrem is doing with this particular collection to help convey that. This particular piece that we've selected is Preparation for Migration, and it is so incredible. Again, the piece is absolutely beautiful. The colors, the textures already capture your eye. This is an image that you would definitely expect to see displayed in a museum, in a fine arts setting. But then when you start to notice the details and you read the description and the information about it, it has yet a whole nother meaning. So you notice these small specks of white that are across the image, and you learn that those are actually flamingos that are migrating, which is just absolutely incredible in its own. But then also Ekrem describes, what is happening here, that the birds are actually migrating and they're looking for the last shreds of food that are available as they're trying trying to migrate to for the season. And unfortunately, because of the drought that's happening in this particular area, which this is taken close to the Bordeaux Yorsili Lake, that the effects of the drought have actually impacted the natural ecosystem and the wildlife. They're not able to find food like they used to be able to. And this is a particular part of the world that is so impacted by drought that they know that they're having to make changes and already seen those huge effects of the drought and the fact that the water is leaving. And again, that is a message that unites all the images in this particular collection, is these images that are otherworldly, that are so unusual, but then you realize that also part of the significance is that these areas are visible because there is no more water in these areas, and there should be. So it really makes you take pause. It makes you understand the beauty of the area that we are living in, and also how our actions are impacting that. And something that he has said is that as the world turns, the change of colors fade. Lakes and river are drying. Nature is now screaming at humanity. We have to listen to the voice of nature. We will soon feel the sound not only in photographs, but also in ourselves. If the water disappears, we will all perish. Take care of your world. So thank you, Ekrem, for sharing this powerful message and being able to share these beautiful images that, although they catch our attention because of their beauty, also help really make us aware of our actions and know that we do have time if we can change how we're conducting ourselves day to day. Now, Alpha has said Ekrem uses beautiful drone photography to bring awareness of nature's beauty and the dangers that man poses to our environment. And such a powerful way of conveying that message. So again, the beautiful images captures your attention, which is really an opportunity to be able to share such a special meaning and a special message. So I hope that you appreciate this as well. And do check out the other pieces that Ekrem has created. They are very, very thought-provoking and thoughtful images. Now, our next piece that we are including is another aerial photograph. This is one created by an award-winning travel and aerial photographer, Satyam Bhuyan. And this piece, the colors and the texture are just so incredible. It really, again, makes you wonder if this is something that was photographed, because you assume that it is something that was created digitally or was painted. But it is such an incredible piece. The reds, you don't imagine that there can be a place that would have such vivid reds, and that's contrasted so much with that bit of green there in the center of the image. But this is from the collection High on Sky, very well named, very, very suitable for an aerial photography collection. And the particular piece that we have included is called Distorted. And we learned from the collection description that we all have our own way to see the world. Nature can be charismatic and serene in many ways, bringing a newer perspective into picture. This is a humble attempt to look at the world and capture it from moments in the high sky. There's a sense of completeness, and when you look at nature from up there for once, you become one with the birds. And you learn, too, from the photo description that this, the red that is a huge part of the image is actually red soil. And there's an island there in the center of it, which is so unusual. Now, this is taken in Odisha in the eastern part of India. And again, it's just so incredible in the NFT space, it being such a global space, that we're able to see these images and experience these areas of our world that we would never, get to visit, most likely, but at the same time, artists that are able to capture these areas in a way in which we probably would never have the chance to see. And it really lets you understand that the world is much bigger than what we are experiencing, and it gives you that appreciation, but also that want. If you've ever experienced wanderlust, you will understand the NFT space, because you definitely want to. Once you learn about these areas and know that they exist, you just want to also visit them, explore them, and learn more. But this particular piece is absolutely beautiful, and again, such a serene but yet intriguing photograph. And Alpha has said, there is a world of intense beauty that can only be seen from the high sky. I sometimes envy the birds. And very well said. This particular piece definitely makes you appreciate how they're able to see our world. So again, very happy to include this piece in this curation. The vivid red with the touch of green brings in yet another bold and intense grouping of colors, and the texture is just absolutely beautiful. So love how it fits with the curation of all the pieces that are seen at the same time. Now, the next piece that we've included is also an aerial photograph that at first really catches your attention because of the colors, because of the texture, because of both the stark lines paired with the curvature. And it's created by an artist that I always enjoy seeing his photographs. But this is Rakesh Pulapa, and by education, he is a computer science engineer, but by passion and interest, he's a travel and nature photographer, and he's also, which has then helped him transition into be a travel and aerial photographer. So what started as a hobby has become profession, and he really has the passion for showcasing Mother Nature and the beauty around us. So again, shares that passion for nature with the other photographers that are also highlighted in this particular series. Now, Rakesh's work is just absolutely incredible. I think it was probably a year ago that I really came in contact with Rakesh in Twitter Spaces, became aware of the work he was creating and producing, and the variety and the variety that he includes in his work and the elements that he's able to capture are just so amazing. This particular piece is just so beautiful, and how the specks of blue or the little pieces of blue are included is just phenomenal. But we learn that these are actually little boats down below. And so being able to think about how, day to day we take for granted some of these things, being able to rise up above the chaos and the motion of the day and see them in a whole nother world is just really, really incredible. Now, this particular piece was actually collected from Super Rare, so it's a one-of-one, not connected with another collection, but the title of this particular piece is Vital Pause, and so well titled. With the description, we learned that Rakesh says, "I believe a certain allure of artwork stems from its abstract quality. It leaves room for interpretations and possibilities conceived by the viewer's mind. However, for the artist, it all begins with a story. The photograph, too, has a story to tell." He says, here you see two modes of transportation. On the left, a linear road cuts through, and on the right, a water canal creates a gentle curve. In the canal, a number of boats lay parked idly. It's worth noting that this isn't a common occurrence. He says these boats were parked there for a reason. In order to promote sustainable fishing practices, counterintuitively, for specific periods in a year, fishing is suspended. It coincides with the fish's breeding season. This vital pause breathes new life into the waters, restoring a healthy balance that is essential for a sustainable future. At its core, the image represents the juxtaposition of development and tradition. The textures and patterns, the small veinlets interspersed with the patches of green cover, and the distinct color palette of browns and grays give it a unique character. The emerald waters, broken with the eddies of a single moving boat, meet the starkness of concrete, reflecting the image's paradox and contrast. Sometimes we need to stop in order to move forward. So Rakesh includes such a beautiful description of this particular piece. I think it would be amiss to not include that in the description and sharing about this particular piece. Again, it's just absolutely incredible, and when you know the meaning behind it and what was actually happening here, it really does capture yet another meaning. And now Alpha's quote that he's included for this particular piece is Rakesh describes this photo as a juxtaposition of development and tradition. It's amazing how that contrast is reflected in such abstract beauty. A good reminder of the beauty that surrounds us, and really appreciate that there's people like Rakesh passionate about capturing this and being able to share it with the world. So happy to include this particular piece in our curation as well. Now, our next piece that we're including is the only piece in this. It is a landscape photograph that is not an aerial photograph, but definitely would fit into our series and being included in experimental photography. This particular piece is created by Kim Henry and Eric Pare, and they are a duo that work together as a dancer, photographer, and also light artist, and create these absolutely futuristic, fantasy, beautiful images that really activate the imagination. I'm always intrigued by seeing the work that they're able to create and the way that they're able to actually play with Mother Nature, understand their surroundings, highlight their surroundings while creating these beautiful images, often of Kim standing very still and Eric creating these beautiful light images around Kim. This particular piece, we can see that they were able to really maximize the opportunity of the location. This is taken in the salt flats, but not only were they able to capture the location and highlight that, but they were also able to catch it at a time of day that's just absolutely amazing. And being able to work with their surroundings, creating this circle behind Kim and highlighting everything that's happening here in this image. So again, everything is so conducive. It works so well together. Instead of trying to really push an element or highlight something, one particular detail, all the details play together so beautiful to create such an amazing image. And I really do appreciate the fact that Kim and Eric both really do use their photography to work in a way in which they can highlight their surroundings and the nature and the environments that they're in. Now, this particular piece is entitled Night Reflection by Kim Henry and Eric Pare, and this is Night Reflection 1.9. This particular piece is part of a longer series that Kim and Eric created, and they did a really cool way of dropping several different series all together in a very orchestrated manner to be able to kind of also gamify and encourage collecting, and have been very, very successful in their approach. Their pieces are definitely sought after in the space, in the NFT space, but also in the traditional art world. Something that's fun to know about Eric and Kim is they have worked for very large companies and industries in the traditional art world as well. So they have clients such as Apple, Microsoft, Adobe, Audi, Facebook, Intel, HP, Twitter, and Sony. And they've had their work presented on BBC, CNN, MTV, Vice, TEDx, and many, many more. Something I also appreciate about Eric and Kim so much is they are so passionate about this beautiful work that they create. And also, it's not just something that they do to create this work, it's actually really their lifestyle. They're so passionate about it, and they're creating new tools and techniques all the time. But when you're following them on their social media, they are so apt and ready to share all of their experiences. They actually did a workshop for us through MetaJungle, which was such a great workshop. But again, it was so wonderful to see them present. They're very, very dynamic on camera, and they are great people to interact with. Very warm, very engaging, very talented. But if you have the opportunity to follow them on any of their social media, you can learn so much more about their process. And it is so, so interesting to see how they're able to create these beautiful images. So very, very unique. With this particular photo, they have said that the salt flats are a dream location for the reflection seekers among us. We planned this trip for many months, hoping that once we would be there, the conditions would be favorable to create what we have envisioned for so long. This image testifies our appreciation for the unique beauty of that this location contains. This picture was created in a few seconds using light painting photography technique. During the exposure time, Kim stands still while I wave the light behind her. And that is a quote from Eric, of course. And again, this image is so beautiful. The work that Eric and Kim create is so unique and use so many natural elements to create this fine art. So definitely check them out. Learn more about them. If you're not familiar, you will not miss out on that by any means. Alpha has said, I have a deep appreciation for Kim's ability to remain motionless while Eric paints the light behind her during the exposure. It's just magical. So very much agree. Now, our next photographer is a photographer that's been active in the space for quite some time. We became connected with him through MetaJungle at a really exciting time. He was becoming a father at this particular time, had a little one that was just born. So that's something I always think of whenever I come in contact with him or see his work. It's amazing the connections that you make with people in the space as well. But this particular photographer is Rich Caldwell. And a little bit of background, he was actually born and raised in Nottingham, England. And he was able to travel, which actually led him to settling in California. And he is in Orange County, California. Now, he's an award-winning aerial photographer, and he really aims to showcase California from an aerial perspective. And he's had his photographs published many times as well. Some of the publications would be the Daily Telegraph, Daily Mail, ITV, and ABC, which is very, very understandable when you see his work. Now, I really appreciate that he focuses on capturing his immediate area there in California and really promoting that. His images oftentimes have different elements that you typically wouldn't see from. You wouldn't really even notice the beauty in it from just driving by or passing. Yet when he's able to get up above it all, he notices the patterns, the textures, the colors, and really has an eye for capturing those unique elements. And so whether it be out over the water, capturing boats, capturing people moving in boats, and capturing those interactions, to even going, one of his pieces that I love so much actually captures like a park and a tennis court. And it's just amazing, again, that he's able to create these images that immediately we would just kind of discount as being something that we're passing. But when he's able to see it through his eye, we're able to understand that there is really beautiful things all around us. Now, the particular piece that we've included for this curation is from his collection, Aerial Art by C.A. from the Sky. And it is, you would think that when you're seeing that this was an abstract painting of a female form, and it's just so amazing to find that this is actually a sand dune that he captured, but it beautifully looks like a curvy woman's figure. So the image itself is absolutely beautiful, but yet when you find out that it is actually something created by Mother Nature, you have another level of appreciation. And very, very appropriately titled, this particular piece is called Form. But the textures, the colors, the light are absolutely beautiful. And the fact that Rich is able to see these images and be able to relate them in a way in which the viewer is going to be able to see his image as well, to see his vision, is just absolutely amazing to me. It's something I really appreciate in Rich's work. Now, he said that in the description, he has said nature creating the human form through light and shadows. And very simple, but very well said. And Alpha's quote about this particular piece is, Rich is an OG in the world of Web3 aerial photography. I love how he captured these dunes in the shape of a human body. And Rich, like I mentioned, has also gone on to be very active in the NFT space. This was an image that Alpha collected probably a year ago, actually. So it's been really fun to watch Rich grow in the NFT space, but also how he's worked with so many other artists and collaborated in very creative ways to push the boundaries, both of the possibilities of NFTs, but also be able to build community and work with others. So definitely check Rich out, follow his work, find out more about him. But this particular piece is just absolutely beautiful. Now, our final piece that we've included in this curation is from an artist that we have gotten to spend a lot of time getting to know, and really have been excited to see how he's been moving within the NFT space as well. Jordan Banks is the photographer for this particular piece. Now, Jordan is based out of the UK, and he has his entire career has worked as a photographer, which is really, really exciting. I had the opportunity of listening to several Twitter Spaces Spaces with Jordan, where he talks about, kind of his background and his career and his passion for what he does. And it's always so exciting to hear artists that this is their passion, something they're interested and excited about, and being able to actually support their family and their lifestyle by doing something that they love and appreciate. And Jordan is definitely one of those shining examples. He's one of the UK's leading travel and documentary photographers. He's been doing this for over 20 years, and he's had the opportunity to shoot for National Geographic, Time Magazine, Condé Nast magazines, so some of the top in the world. And he actually has also developed his own travel magazine called Journey. This is a publication that developed during the pandemic, actually, which is such an interesting time for a travel publication to actually be developed. But it also has been highly recognized, and in 2001 was named the top travel magazine, which is so exciting. And I know he's actively working on being able to bring that experience into the Web3 opportunities, the Web3 realm. So excited to see what he has in store for that. Now, Jordan is a very diverse photographer, meaning he does portraits. He does a lot of different types of photography or genres of photography within. This is one of his aerial pieces, and it is that we've included in this particular curation. And this is actually done in a very limited collection called Binary. And this was a collabed collection with Jordan and also another photographer included in this particular exhibit, Subodh Shetty. And Subodh is another travel photographer that has a really great background, both in traditional photography world, but also in the NFT space. But this was a collaboration that Jordan and Subodh did to help bring some recognition, to do something a little bit different and creative, which I always appreciate seeing different ways of implementing something unique into the space. But this particular piece was created by Jordan. Absolutely gorgeous piece. The colors, the texture is just incredible. The particular piece is entitled Pathway. And now, this particular piece was actually captured in Utah at the Factory Butte. And Jordan says about it, "I was mesmerized by the way the patterns of the earth had formed over centuries to produce natural pathways across the Badlands. It gave me a great sense of belief of what was possible. If these paths could make it in the harshest of conditions with centuries of battling the elements and the odds truly stacked against them, there really is no excuse as why we can't too." So that is a very humbling statement. And the things that we think about day to day as our struggles and our challenges, that really puts things into perspective. And Jordan says that we all need to carve out our own path in this world, following our dreams with the aim of living a fruitful, fulfilling, and happy life. As we all know, this is easier said than done, but with hard work and perseverance, anything is possible. This image acts as a constant reminder of the strength and resilience of nature. The bright yellow path seemingly cuts through the dark and unforgiving surrounding desert landscape with a great ease before finally reaching its destination. So very well put, Jordan. And again, that is such a wonderful compliment to this absolutely gorgeous image and such a motivating statement as well. And Alpha has said a beautiful image taken from high in the sky could be mistaken for a photograph taken from a microscope. This image reminds me of how small we all are. So really, again, great to have these different perspectives and these opportunities to understand our world around us in a whole nother form. So again, in this particular curation for this overall exhibit, we've really wanted to expand the ideas and highlight many, many different types of photography. This particular set of 8 photos has been one that I've really enjoyed getting to deep dive into, delve into, because again, it really pushes the boundaries of what we think of every day as photography, what we're seeing around us, what we're capturing ourselves maybe with our cell phones. It also pushes us to see outside of our everyday viewpoint and be able to appreciate our surroundings and our beautiful earth in a whole nother way. So I hope that you've enjoyed this deep dive into our aerial and experimental part of our exhibit that's again happening right now in Venice, Italy as part of the Venice Biennale exhibit. Again, very happy to be be able to feature these photographers and these photos and be able to share with the world what's happening right here in NFT photography. I really feel like it is such an exciting time. If you have any questions, please drop them into the comments below. We'd be more than happy to help you connect. We're also including all the contact information for the artists that we've included in this edition in the show notes, so please check those out, reach out, connect with these artists. Also, we would love for you to like, share, subscribe. We're providing information for you about NFT photography and NFTs in general, so we'd love for you to follow along this journey with us. And always, you're welcome to connect with us on our social media platforms. Of course, the easiest is on Twitter, which you can connect with us at MetaJungle NFT. You can connect with me myself, which you'll find me at Nifty Meta Girl. But again, very happy to be able to share this series with you. Please stay tuned for our next episode. We have 2 more in this series. And also be watching on Twitter. We have lots of behind the scenes videos and photos of the in real life exhibit that's happening right now. So thank you again for joining me on this edition, and I can't wait for the next one. Thank you and have a great day.